You just don't know it. I've lost. Look at the board. I have. Take the draw, and I'll share the championship. Take the draw. Move. Check. Good game.
Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikha, Ha, Kadash. I'm back with you in another straight to the point moment, dealing with the tenets and doctrine of life, which is this new covenant, the gospel and testimony that must be preached forth throughout the four corners of the earth before the time of restitution, aka salvation, shall come. And here we are again with another sharing of wisdom on this wisdom gauntlet. And we're going to deal with whether they will hear or forbear, the things that we should hear pertaining to this gospel and newness of spirit and mind, the New Testament, and what we must do to forbear or endure unto the end. Let us begin. The book of 2 Esdras, chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Let me read that again. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people. So it's pertaining to his people, the words of prophecy. So the speaking to his people, we speak the words of prophecy, which the Most High, will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper. To do what? And cause them to be written in paper. So we have the words of prophecy written in paper when we read the Bible. All right? For they are faithful and true. So these words that we must speak in prophecy unto his people are written in paper, and they are faithful and true. Let's see what is faithful and true. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 119. Verse 60. All right, let's see what's faithful and true. The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 60. Let's get that. Salakia, bear with me. Verse 160. Salakia. Book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 160. Thy word is true from the beginning. So they are what? Faithful and true. This is what we read in 2nd Ezra 15, verses 1 and 2. The words of prophecy that we are to speak to his people are what? Faithful and true. They're written in paper. And the paper they're written on is in this Bible. Psalms 119, verse 160. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endure forever. What? They are faithful. Thy righteous judgments endure forever. How long? Forever. This is the faithfulness of his word, which is true from the beginning. All right? Dropping down. Heavy, man. Heavy. Dropping down to verse 1. We'll go to verse 86. So, we'll go up to verse 86, and then we'll come to verse 88, wrapping up this faithful and true. Verse 86. All thy commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. Hold on, let me read it again. According to 2nd Ezra 15, verses 1 and 2, we are to speak into the ears of his people the words of prophecy, and he will cause them to be written on paper, for they are faithful and true. Psalms 119, verse 86 again. All thy commandments are faithful. What? All thy commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongfully. Help thou me. Let's drop to verse 138 in Psalms 119. Thy testimonies that thou hast commanded are righteous and very faithful. I mean, it's parallel. It's the context. It's consistent. It's consistent. Thy testimony that thou hast commanded, this is what you see in 2nd Ezra 15, are righteous and very faithful. Drop it down to verse 160. Thy word is true from the beginning. This is faithful and true. Thy word is true from the beginning, and every one of thy righteous judgments endureth forever. So we got the context that we see in 2nd Ezra 15 and 1, found in Psalms chapter 119, verses 86, 160, and 38. We got the context. So now let us continue. Let us continue. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 42. And we'll start at verse 15. Right? Whether they will hear or forbear. I will now remember the works of the Lord. So the things that we have found in paper that were written, that were faithful and true, we will now remember the works, for they were the works of the Lord, and declare the things that I have seen in the words, in the what? In the words, in the what? In the words of the Lord are his works. Let me read that again for context. Ecclesiasticus chapter 42, verse 15. I will now remember the works of the Lord. And we get those works written in paper, which are faithful and true. For these are the prophecies that we are to speak unto the ear of the people, of his people, and declare the things I have seen. In the words of the Lord, in his words are his works. Are his what? Are his works. Are his what? Are his works. Whether they will hear or forbear. Let us meditate. Heavy. The simplicity we have within Hamashiach. So the prophecy and the words that are written in paper that we are to prophesy into the ear of his people, which are faithful and true, are his words. In his words, we find his works, which are what? Everlasting commandments. His words, which are lost as commandments, are everlasting commandments or wisdom. This is heavy, man. Heavy. Bear with me. the book of Jeremiah. We're going to go. The book of Jeremiah. We're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 4. Verse 4. All right. The book of Jeremiah. First chapter, fourth verse. Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, so this is what we're supposed to hear from the beginning, and forbear unto the end. His word. Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, verse 5, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. This is the correlation you see between 2 Ezra 15, the word that we prophesy into the ears of his people. Those men that speak his word are the prophets. And we're to prophesy unto the nations. Verse 6, then said I, Lord Yahweh, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. Heavy. Verse 7, but the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee. So we only to go to those that he has sent us to. But you have men referencing points from theology saying that we are sent unto all the nations and all the people. But notice here in context, Jeremiah 1, verse 7, but the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. So he sent us not to the nations, but unto the nations, that we may speak his word into the ears of his people. And this word was prophecy, and it was faithful and true, and in his word was found his works. His what? His works. Verse 8, be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord. So this was a job he had given unto his prophets to speak unto his people. Not all people, but to his people amongst all these nations. And these words that we spoke unto them were what? Faithful and true. And within these words were found his works. Proverbs 7 and 1. The book of Proverbs chapter 7, verse 1. My son, keep my words. Now notice, he said keep these words, and we're referenced as what? Sons. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Do what? Lay up my commandments with thee. Do what? Lay up my commandments with thee. So his words, in which we found his works, were what? Commandments. Verse 2, keep my commandments and live. If we kept these things, we what? We live. This is why they're considered faithful and true. And live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Verse 3, bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. From law unto testimony, whether they will hear or forbear. Whether they will hear or forbear. Heavy. Let us meditate. Heavy. See, this is what we're supposed to hear and forbear from the beginning unto the end. He made this clear. It was not the sacrifice of bulls or goats that he required of us, but that we heard his voice and that we kept his ways. and that we walked in his ways, and we loved him. This was the showing of love unto him. This is the same message or word we get from the Son, that we turn back from our ways and return unto who? Our Father, our first love. And that we walk in those ways and that we keep those ways. The book of Psalms 119, verse 171. My lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. This is what you see in 2 Ezra 15. Now let us get that so that we don't forget where this started. 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. Psalms 119, verse 171. My lips shall utter praise. What? So when we speak, my lips shall utter praise when thou hast taught me thy statutes. In his word was found the works. These are statutes. Verse 172. My tongue shall speak of thy word. What? My tongue shall speak of thy word. For all thy commandments are righteousness. For what? All thy commandments are righteousness. Verse 173. Let thine hand help me, for I have chosen thy precepts. Verse 174. Here's the forbearance. Here's the forbearance. Listen, read, be with intent, and merge yourself in what this context says. Psalms 119, verse 174. I have longed, this is the forbearance, for thy salvation, O Lord, and thy law is my delight. That's the forbearance. Let me read it again. I have longed for thy salvation, O Lord. I have longed for thy salvation, O Lord, and thy law is my delight. Whether they will hear or forbear. And with that, I want to give all praise to Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekha, Ha Kadash. Repent and keep the commandments of God and the faith of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Shalom, Akim.